Over to Anusha now. Anusha.
Thank you so much for that, Maria. Taking the news forward, here's a special announcement. Reliance Consumer Products Limited has announced the relaunch of India's iconic beverage brand, Kampa. The local brand Kampa has heritage of about 50 years in the Indian market. The Kampa portfolio will initially include 3 new flavors, the Kampa Cola, Kampa Lemon and Kampa Orange in the sparkling beverage category. The relaunch is in line with company's plan to promote indigenous Indian brands that not only have a rich Indian heritage, but also a deep-rooted connection with Indian consumers. Kampa's contemporary appeal promises to provide India with a quote-unquote the great Indian taste this summer. Thank you for watching.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and I'm joining you today from Ahmedabad. I was here earlier today to track Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosting the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for the first day of the 4th and the final test match between India and Australia. Of course, there was a lot of cricket diplomacy at display, but we're not talking about that per se. We are talking about politics. Let's focus on the first story that we're debating today, and that, of course, is the Liquorgate probe. As this probe continues to get bigger and bigger, there are more and more names that are coming under the scanner. There are more and more arrests that the agencies are making, and that now the one big name after the Aam Aadmi Party's Deputy Chief Minister in Delhi, former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, is the name of BRS MLC K. Kavitha, who's also the daughter of the Telangana Chief Minister. So she's of course been named as far as this alleged scam is concerned. She's been asked to come forward for questioning. The BRS is fuming. They say this is nothing but political vendetta. This has become a tool at the hands of the ruling BJP to use these agencies to time and time again torture the opposition leaders, and they say there is a clear pattern that is emerging as far as the targets of these agencies are concerned. They're all opposition leaders. The BJP, of course, says that this is just the agencies doing their job. On top of that, there are very clear evidences and links that are coming to light, and the agencies are just doing their job. Before I get to what exactly this latest round of politics on the Liquorgate probe means, could this become the major rallying point, for example, for all opposition parties coming together against the BJP ahead of the next general elections? Let's also break down exactly what are the charges against K. Kavitha. So K. Kavitha has been named by the ED charge sheet as a key member of the South Group. Now, South Group is the one group that has come under scanner for their dealings with the excise policy makers in the national capital and also liquor barrels. This South Group paid at least 100 crore rupees in kickbacks, but kickbacks were also received by them. So the kickbacks for wholesale distribution license were given to Indo Spirit. Indo Spirit received 185% as wholesale profits, and these profits were revised to extract kickbacks from the Aam Aadmi Party as well. Now, it is also said, quite like in the case of Manish Sisodia, that even the phone numbers and the unique number that every phone has was changed. Just like they alleged that that Manish Sisodia changed multiple phones during a specific period of time. Now, the ED charge sheet says that Kavitha changed the IMEI number of a phone as many as 6 times. Of course, all of these are charges which K. Kavitha denies. The big question that's coming up is, one, whether the opposition claim of a witch hunt is valid when its agencies doing their job, and clearly something has gone wrong and they have a lot of members part of this so-called cartel under arrest. No relief has come via courts, and whether this issue will end up galvanizing the opposition parties to come together against the BJP, because everyone is making the same pitch that we are being controlled via the agencies. Before we go across to our guests, here's more on the story.
A mega political face-off has erupted after K. Kavitha, BRS Chief KCR's daughter, was summoned by ED in Delhi liquor policy scam. Kavitha was initially summoned for today, but now she's been asked to come on the 11th of March as she had a few pre-fixed appointments. But the knives were already out. According to the ED charge sheet, K. Kavitha is accused of holding 65% stake in Indo Spirits, who got undue benefits due to the Delhi liquor policy. Sources have also revealed to CNN News18 that the South lobby allegedly paid kickbacks amounting to rupees 100 crore, which in turn was used by the Aam Aadmi Party for the Goa polls. But Kavitha and BRS has denied all the allegations and in turn has called the probe a political vendetta.
हमने ईडी को बीच में रिक्वेस्ट किया कि 10 तारीख को बकायदा अगर 11 तारीख को आपको इन्वेस्टिगेट करना है हमारे घर पे आइए, अक्यूज किसी के साथ आपको इंट्रोगेट करवाना है तो उनको भी लेके आइए, घर में बैठ के इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर सकते हैं क्योंकि लॉ हमें सपोर्ट करती है. उन्होंने कहा नहीं, आपको खुद चल के आना होगा. व्हेन इट कम्स टू द ओरिजिनल ईडी समन, वी विल completely side with them, support with them, because we understand the obligations of the government and the agencies. We will 100% support them.
They are using ED as a tool to harass other opposition parties. Even more strangers, even before ED sent summons, the entire local BJP will start speaking.
Meanwhile, the BJP has slammed Kavitha and BRS for not turning up for the summons. The Saffron Party claims that this is an attempt just to divert attention from the probe.
आज केसीआर परिवार ने हर दिन हमारे खिलाफ गलत प्रचार कर रहे. तेलंगाना में केसीआर पार्टी का, केसीआर सरकार के खिलाफ आम जनता आज आवाज उठा रहे.
Kavitha was summoned a day after Hyderabad businessman Arun Ramachandra Pillai was arrested by ED on Friday. Even several opposition parties have echoed Kavitha's claim of misuse of agencies by the centre. But is the opposition's claim of witch hunt really valid? Bureau Report, CNN News 18.
Let's go across to the guests joining us. RP Singh from the BJP. I'm waiting. Ravula Sridhar ready to join us from the BRS. Abhinandita Mathodia, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. And also R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist, joining us. Since we're waiting the arrival of our BRS panelists, I want to go across to the BJP first. RP Singh, you know, every opposition party today in India is saying the same thing. Now, all of them cannot be wrong, would be the argument by some. And if you look at the pattern of the people that the agencies are investigating, it's one opposition leader after the other, while there's absolutely no focus on your own BJP governments. Respond to that charge by the opposition and the BRS in this case.
Shivani, I'll appreciate you pick up a leader of the opposition, ask them to hire the best lawyer, I'll pay the fee for the lawyer, and let them take matter against any BJP leader in the court and get the court order against BJP leader and let the agencies thereafter prove that person. But just saying false allegation doesn't work. just putting false allegation doesn't work. Fact is, they are themselves deep into corruption. I have if BRS gentleman is here, two simple three questions. I was just hearing Maria's interview with the ma'am, Kavitha ma'am. She said when she was asked about has she ever met Arun Pillai, does she know Arun Pillai, she ducked that question. She shifted to Sisodia, that I have never met Sisodia. I am again asking, will the BRS gentleman say this here on oath, saying that Madam has never met Arun Pillai, Madam never travelled with Arun Pillai, Madam never met Arun Pillai in Hotel O'Brien Maiden in Delhi? Let these answers be given and the things will be clear, because Arun Pillai has other way to say and he need to be confronted with Kavitha ma'am and things to be clarified. What's wrong with it? Investigation is happening. And lastly, one second.
I'm going to take those questions.
Lastly, one second. And also, this investigation has been on almost now more than 2 months now. First time she was called in December probably. Now, in this period, they could have gone to the court and got the matter quashed. If there is nothing, they have not committed anything wrong, they could have approached the court and said, this all is false propaganda, false allegations have been levied against us, these are the evidence otherwise, quash the case, court would have quashed the case.
Okay, I get your argument about the fact that courts are not giving them any relief, but I don't think the argument that you find the corruption, go to courts and get courts to act on our leaders, I don't think that quite works. It's the agency's job to find that corruption, and of course the opposition believes that there is corruption in BJP too. Having said that, that's not an excuse for their own
I'm
corruption.
prepared to pay the
Mr. Reddy
fee
from the BRS
for
is
the
joining
lawyer.
us. Sir, I have two pointed questions for you. One, your defense cannot be that why are you not going after the BJP leaders? Your defense has to be that I am not corrupt. So the opposition leaders keep saying you're coming after me, but you're not going after BJP themselves. That's not a sufficient answer for your own alleged corruption. And secondly, there are serious questions that have emerged. They have to be answered. It doesn't suffice to just say witch hunt all the time. Mr. Reddy.
See, we are not saying, we only because the accusations are leveled against us, we are not questioning only BJP basically. We are cooperating with the investigating agencies. We are not running away. We are not evading answers. We are, honoring whatever the CBI, ED asking us to, present for the investigation and etc. But why we are saying these are, first we say neither Kavitha ji nor any BRS leader has any role in this particular Delhi Central, whatever excise policy case. That is number one. Number two, saying that because these cases are politically motivated, to prove their intentions, we are very clearly mentioning that at one end, you implicate us in false cases, you fabricate the cases. Other end, wherever BJP leaders' involvement are there, the probe agencies will either go slow, and whoever leaders joined BJP, completely the investigation will stand still. So this is the basic, activity BJP is doing today. And the selective targeting, that's what I'm trying to tell you from the day one. No one in this country understand what is this case all about, because this policy is not completely implemented. Number one, all losses are imaginary. Nowhere the evidence are there, and nowhere the money is found. Unlike in Karnataka, where crores of money is found, still the MLA is, went out of bail, got the anticipatory bail. Government could not find him. He was an absconding till he gets the bail.
Right.
And in the cases of, Himant Biswa Sharma or any other leaders also, the same case. The probe agencies will not go to them. They will not call them. The investigation will not continue. But in our case, neither both AAP and BRS.
Can I just ask you though, there are very serious allegations as far as the South lobby is concerned. Surely Ms. Kavitha's name has not cropped up out of nowhere. The agency is not going to name such a senior politician whose family is in power in Telangana today without any connection as far as the protagonists of this case are concerned. She may not have met Mr. Sisodia or any of the other protagonists face to face, but that's not how it really needs to go down. Are you seriously saying that there is absolutely no connection, there cannot be any connection, and her name has just cropped up out of thin air? There are very serious charges of kickbacks here.
There is no role of her in this case. We made it very clear. She gave the answers to CBI. Now she will be, appearing before ED also. This is completely a false case. All the allegations leveled are baseless. There is no connection. Now, South Group and South Group. Is there any company registered in the name of South Group? Many North Indian business leaders are working in South, doing business in South. Many South Indian businessmen are doing business in, North. What is this South Group all about basically? To frame a case.
No, that's just about denoting that this is a group that was in the southern part of India. Besides many members of this so-called group, South Group is just a denotation, but there's many members of this so-called group, cartel, whatever you want to call it, people who came together allegedly, are also arrested. So it's not that the agencies are only going after politicians. Several non-politicians are behind bars, and none of them have managed to secure any release.
No. Just to create a feeling that there is a cartel, all these people have ganged up. To create that particular feeling, they are trying to name it as a South Group, and all the people have come together and formulated the Delhi excise policy. And this is a proper case of fabrication. That's what I'm trying to say. Intentionally, they are doing it. There is no role
Okay,
of Kavitha ji
in
this
that
number.
in that sense, your case would be very strong. Not just Miss Kavitha's, but also the case for all of the other individuals who've been already arrested as part of this so-called South group. And that's my next question to Abhinandita as
they
well.
will defend,
You talk about
they will
Satendra Jain,
represent their
you talk
case.
about Manish
I am talking about Kavitha
Sisodia.
ji.
They're not managing. One second, sir. They're not managing to get any bails. They're not managing to get any relief. Courts are very conscious of individual rights. They give bails and reliefs to individuals in many such cases where the agencies jump the gun. In these cases, none of your members are managing to secure a release.
I understand your question, and allow me 2 minutes to make a couple of points quickly. Well, you're right that we're not getting relief, but fundamentally what we are challenging is the allegations themselves. We say two things. One, we are pleading innocent, and the second thing is that we are claiming that we believe that there is actually very serious sort of vendetta happening, not just in Delhi, but around the country, whereby wherever the BJP is not able to be successful, wherever they are not able to compete with the work of that government, either they topple the government, and in Delhi's case, they've not been able to do that, perhaps because of the huge majority that we have in the assembly. Therefore, there is a vendetta of constantly actually, pulling the Aam Aadmi Party down. And why I say this is that if BJP were really serious about, or the center was really serious about corruption or about, misgivings or about financial frauds, there is ample evidence against many of the ministers now, many of the leaders now sitting in the BJP, some of them who have come from other parties. And BJP in that case becomes a sort of a sanctuary, to clean yourself up. That is one. The other thing which is actually more relevant to all of us today and to our viewers and to supporters of any political party is the kind of money that the BJP has pumped into Indian politics is shameful. And there is no doubt about the fact that, the kind of money that we saw being pumped in since the BJP has come without any accountability, you cannot actually access details on the electoral bonds, which are obviously going to one particular party. They have obviously all the resources.
So I'll stay away from that debate. That's a separate debate we'll have. But Rajagopalan, I want you to add on to what Abhinandita has said. If you look at, for example, West Bengal, a state the BJP fought very hard in and didn't quite manage to uproot the TMC or, get them out of power. You have many cases after TMC leaders. You look at what Abhinandita is talking about in the national capital in Delhi. AAP has been beating the BJP for a decade or so. You look at, states like Telangana. The BJP wants to make inroads there. Is there not a point when the opposition says that you're targeting opposition leaders primarily to tarnish their reputations and make inroads in those states? There's a pattern of that emerging. And do you think this could fundamentally become the fulcrum where opposition parties come together against the BJP ahead of the next general elections?
To answer your question, no. This is different case and my understanding is different. When they say that it is politically vendetta, vindictive, whatever that, in 2021, Shivani, in Gauri Apartments in Ferozshah Road in New Delhi, there was a meeting. Arun Pillai, Abhishek Bonapalli, Buchi Babu, Gontala, Vijay Nair and others, including Arun Pillai met. They decided to approach Madam Kavitha. That is the charge sheet. I am having that charge sheet with me, and that is very explicitly saying that there was a cartel of 100 crore. And to substantiate that, tomorrow what Kavitha will be confronted is cartel controls 9 retail zones in Delhi. And the zones have been given permission by the government, by Sisodia, by the liquor policy. Makunda Agro Farms, Zone 4 and 23, owned by Raghava Makunda. Organics Ecosystem, Zone 31 in Delhi. The company is in Hyderabad.
Right.
The Avantika Contractors, Zone 18 and 26 in Delhi. Kawo Gali Restaurants, Zone 2 and 3 in Delhi. So what is that? Aam Aadmi Party and BRS have a connivance to loot the system of state exchequer, and through that they fought Goa, they fought Himachal Pradesh, they fought Punjab. Mr. R.P. Singh Sardarji is sitting. He is also unable to understand one thing. I complain against Mr. R.P. Singh because he is not arguing the case very well. The point is, this money was politically used for Goa and Punjab. Can R.P. Singh deny that? I want to ask that question to BRS also. Legal matter don't give political twist. Who is Arun Ramachandra Pillai? Does he know Madam Kavitha or not? That is enough. Because things are not good in
Well,
this
I can't
system.
quite solve that question here as part of this debate. You're raising very pertinent questions, Rajagopalan. The issue is the agencies need to find answers to that. The agencies need to make a very solid case. And when we see people in high positions or important politicians, whether they were earlier with the BJP or not, none of these cases actually reach anywhere. And that is why there is a question of the agencies on the timing and the way these cases are pursued. They're not really leading to convictions. That's the issue. But I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us for this very short debate today. We'll of course continue to discuss this in detail as K. Kavitha appears for her questioning as well. I want to move on to the second story we're tracking, and that's a very unique story of a very unique step that a Kerala couple has taken. So this couple has been married for nearly 3 decades, for 30 years, but they've gone in to register what was a nikah as a Muslim couple after almost 30 years as a special marriage under the Special Marriage Act. And they have done this purely to secure the inheritance of their daughters. They have 3 daughters, no male heir. And under Islamic personal laws, the daughters cannot inherit all of your property. If you have a daughter and a son, they don't get the same share. And if you have only daughters, part of your inheritance then has to be split again with other male relatives. So this couple has sought the protection of the Special Marriages Act to ensure that their 3 daughters get the entirety of their inheritance. I want to quickly break down what the Islamic Shariat law says and why this couple has gone the way they have. The couple is also joining us exclusively in just a bit from now. But here are certain questions that emerge as far as Islamic personal laws are concerned and how they are not quite equal when it comes to the girl child versus the male child. So the wife, for example, gets only 1/8 of the husband's property if there is no lineal descendant from that companionship. In case of a lineal descendant, the wife takes 1/4 of the property. Remember, these inheritance laws are different for other communities. Daughters cannot inherit more than half of what a son gets. So the share to begin with between 2 siblings based on their gender is very different. On top of that, if you only have daughters, part of the inheritance then has to be shared to other male relatives. They could be your cousins, your siblings, children, etc. But the entire inheritance cannot be given to your daughters alone. And the estate of a Muslim can only pass to a Muslim. So these are some basic Shariat structures, especially pertaining to inheritance. The big question we're asking today is, on the back of what this couple has decided to do after 30 years of their marriage, is it not time for gender-neutral laws in Islamic personal laws as well? We're not quite talking about UCC, but within each personal law, should there be not greater parity when it comes to the boy child and the girl child? And remember, this couple decided to do this on March 8 when we celebrate Women's Day. So this is a message that they're sending to the larger society as well.
നമ്മുടെ മുസ്ലിം കുടുംബത്തിൽ പിറക്കുന്ന പെൺകുട്ടികൾ മാത്രമുള്ളവർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ഒരു വിവേചനമുണ്ട്. ആ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് സമൂഹത്തിലെ മറ്റ് സമുദായത്തിൽ പിറന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്കുള്ള സോഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റാറ്റസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്വത്തവകാശത്തിൽ തുല്യത നൽകണമെന്നുള്ളൊരു സന്ദേശം നൽകുക മാത്രമാണ് ഇതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്.
തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഇതൊരു മെസ്സേജാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾ ഓൾറെഡി ഒരു കസ്റ്റമറി മാരേജ് കഴിഞ്ഞതാണ്, നമ്മൾ ആ ജീവിതമായിട്ട് മുന്നോട്ട് പോവുകയാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഇങ്ങനൊരു ആവശ്യം വരുന്നത് ഈ കുട്ടികളുടെ ഒരു കോൺഫിഡൻസ് തകർക്കുന്ന രീതിയിൽ ഒരു ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേറ്ററി ആയിട്ടുള്ളവർ, ഞങ്ങളുടെ കാലശേഷം മക്കൾക്ക് പൂർണ്ണമായിട്ട് അധികാരം വരുന്നില്ല. അവരുടെ കസിൻസ് ആൺകുട്ടികളാണെങ്കിൽ അവർക്ക് ഫുൾ അധികാരമുണ്ട്.
I want to first go across to our special newsmakers joining us on the show today. Shukur Vakil, who's the advocate and the husband in this very special couple, Dr. Sheena Shakur. She's an academician, actually teaches law, wife in this case. And I thank you for speaking to us on Plain Speak. Sheena ji, I want to begin with you. This is a never before heard of kind of decision that you have taken, a very unique step of re-registering or remarrying yourself, but under the protection of the Special Marriages Act. Could you begin by explaining to me why you thought, now both of you know law, why did you think that this was the absolute necessity for you, that you couldn't work this out any other way?
Actually, this is not a remarriage. We got nikah, the Muslim personal law marriage custom. So we did a customary marriage in 1994, October 6th, and we are together, and in this wedlock we have 3 girls. Now, this idea of getting registered under the Special Marriage Act, this is only the registration of the marriage that has already been happened in 1994. This is not a second marriage. And the Special Marriage Act has provision for registering the marriage that already happened. So that is how we are doing it under Section 50. Now, why we do this is the question. Now, right from the understanding of law since our graduation days while studying the family law, and when Shukru started practicing, and when I did my higher studies and all, I did my PhD in family law. When everything or these sort of things are happening, we understood what how unequal distribution is taking place with the inheritance rights for the girls' children. Now, we have discussed this with our friends. Whenever there is an occasion that we address during this special occasions like Women's Day or Gender Justice campaign or any District Legal Service Authority or Legal Services Authorities program, where a lot number of people gather and they raised questions like, why is this happening to us only when all the other girls in other families like Hindus, Christians or Parsis even, when this inheritance rights are equally equal for in many other girls and also their own cousins. So when either of us are no more, our children will inherit only 2/3 of the in their whatever is left, and the rest will be going to other our brothers. No. Now the question is, after our life or while our children would inherit, the question is not like it should not go to our brothers' children or brothers. Yeah. Rather, it is a question of why our children, our daughters are not treated same as to that of their male cousins or Absolutely. any other girls who are belonging to or who are having the faith in other religion. So there is a wide range of inequality Absolutely. Which is prohibited or against which there is guaranteed protection under the Constitution of India.
Right. You know, you raised a very important point. This is not about not wanting to share your property with your other family members. This is a charge that has been thrown at you, that you guys are selfish, you are not willing to share your property. But the basic question is that why should your daughters not have the same rights as the sons and not have the same rights as other daughters in other religions? So, Shukurji, I want to ask you, how do you look at the reaction that has come into your action? Because a lot of the Orthodox Muslim clerics are saying that this is selfish, this was also unnecessary, you could have found other ways to distribute your inheritance to your daughters, and this is all a drama. Why did you feel the need to do this? Because you also are a lawyer, you understand law. And what would you say to the reactions that have been coming in on this action?
Actually, the clerics have no role in the society. They have no voice in the society. Just they are saying something and some followers are following there. Actually, the Muslim society of Kerala is far far away from these clerics. You know, the recently international football match, FIFA is going there at Qatar. Some clerics says that you don't watch football match. It is against Islam. And very fortunately, all the Muslim youth in Kerala ignored that fatwa. Like this, here they are trying to uphold, they are trying to restrain the common family. They are facing inequality and discrimination on the basis of sex in Muslim community. They want to protect that old custom prevailing in the Muslim community during the pre-independence day. This act is came in force in 1937. In that time, we have no constitution as that was we accepted our constitution in the year 1950. Before 1950, this law, the application of Muslim person law came in force in 1937. At that time, we have no constitution. The constitution came in force only in 1950.
Okay, I get your point.
My case is the 1937 Act is not uphold the constitutional validity or constitutional right of a Muslim girl. She belongs to a Muslim family only because she belongs to a Muslim family. That is why we are challenging. This is against the fundamental right.
So your contention is that the Muslim personal law, at least in this case, is against the values of the constitution. And today when we have the constitution in India, then the Muslim child, especially the girl child, should not be denied her equal right. So in a way, you're questioning the personal law itself. Do you believe that these are set of laws that should be done away with because they're not equal and everybody should go by the constitution?
According to me and for several other scholars, this is not Islamic. This is against the spirit of Allah and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They are not allowing inequality among the persons on the basis of sex and creed or caste. Islam, I think, Islam is always keeping all the persons equal. And Islam always insisting equal treatment among men and women. And this Personal Law Application Act is against the spirit of Islam and against the spirit of teaching of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Okay, Sheena ji, I want to ask you, this is something that is still being practiced by many Muslims. You yourself say and know that from your experience. Do you think the society in itself should shun away these practices? They should do away these practices, and anywhere where the girl child is treated less than equal to the male child? It's time for that to happen now.
Actually, the thing that I have to understand is, this is India. Let it be anything that happens in any Islamic countries. We have a constitution where we say that we the people of India have adopted, enacted and constituted this for ourselves. Which means whatever general laws are prevailing in India should be applicable to anybody in India. So in that sense, the constitution, then the question is, the constitution also says about Article 25, which permits a religion. What is this religious right permitted under Article 25? Of course, you can follow any religion of your choice. Now, the problem is, first of all, what we have to understand is, any succession laws or inheritance laws that is prevailing in India, and also the Muslim personal law says that an individual during his lifetime, whatever he or she earns for his own livelihood and for his family existence, uses, expense, and whatever is left behind after his death will have to devolve or go into the immediate next generation, which means they are essentially the children. So there is no difference that is being placed between son or daughter, or like you can't read it out like it will. If there are no children, or if there is only girls, it should go to the brothers' line. So this is only an interpretation given by the Muslim personal law followers, like whoever interpret. The next thing is, when there is a law saying that the personal laws can be followed, like Article 25, it also says that when the law has to change with the time. Like, law is not static, it has always been an experience. So that is why even then Article 25 is there. We have now Triple Talaq amended, or it has been struck down by the Honorable Supreme Court. Later we have the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act. Earlier we have the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on 1986, which says that the Muslim women can argue or claim or they are entitled for maintenance after their marriage is done, marriage is over, which is actually against the practicing Muslim personnel. Like, once the wife is divorced, they are not eligible for any maintenance from the husband. Only they are eligible for only idda. Whereas maintenance. So that is the human right that happens in 1980s, but still we are following it. So what happened? And see, this is not the only way of addressing this issue of inequality or discrimination. This is only one step. Like, when we get registration under SMA 1954, you will get the privilege of enjoying the provisions of 1925 Indian Succession Act, which says that you can bequeath.
But you are saying that this is not the only way to go around as far as these customs are concerned. There are other ways as well. I want to very quickly ask you, Shakurji, I want to come to you. The concept which you're effectively hinting at is the concept of UCC, that we have a constitution, and as far as matters like inheritance, marriages, divorce are concerned, there should be a uniform set of laws. Are you in favor of UCC then?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe in uniform civil code, because we can have, India is a culturally diverse society. One example, in Tamil Nadu, a man can marry his sister's daughter, nephew. But in Kerala, that is not possible. Yeah, and several states have different type of culture, and several tribes are different type of culture. We cannot uniform it in under one law. That is against the spirit of Indian culture and Indian diversity, and we are not agreeing with the uniform civil code. Moreover, in Hindu, there was some difference in some discrimination provisions in Hindu Succession Act and in Indian Succession Act. All that discriminations are corrected by way of amendment and court verdict. That is why we can correct the Muslim inherited law on the by way of amendment or by way of interfering of court verdictions.
Okay, so you're saying instead of bringing in a uniform code for all, within the individual personal laws, there should be changes and amendments brought in to be progressive and be with the times and certainly eliminate discrimination. I want to ask you very quickly, finally, are you nervous? Are you afraid? Because there have been very strong reactions to your step. You've sent out a message which is against very orthodox Islamism. Are you at all worried about your safety?
No danger, no fear. We are very free. This is Kerala. The Kerala is governed by a left government. Every person in Kerala are very safe and secure in every aspect. The Article 19 is there. We can express our will and opinion very freely in Kerala.
Okay. And Sheenaji, can I ask you finally, you've set a precedent. Do you feel that more people should follow this from the Muslim community so that the girl child could also be treated on par?
Yes, I told you this is just one step that we can, and we let people come to know about this provision under the SMA Act 1954, and whoever has girl child only and whomsoever worry about their daughters, confidence, the situation where they are not confident enough, or if they feel that there is an inequality existing, then they can definitely come through this. But I wish and I hope that there are many in our paths. in the future.
Okay. I thank you, Sheena ji and Shakur ji, for joining us as our newsmakers. I want to go across to the guests who are now joining. On the show with me, Rahul Ishwar, author and activist, Amber Zaidi, activist, Danish Qureshi is a political analyst, and Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar. I have only a few minutes, so I'll give everyone a couple of minutes to express their opinion on this. Atikur Rahman, I start with you. What do you make of this couple's step? Do you think this will send a larger message that from within, not by external forces of the government or anyone else, but from within the community must bat for equal rights?
Shivani, I can, support this couple, getting marriage in a Special Marriages Act. There is no doubt about it. They have every right to do it. But I do not understand that their claim that if they are going by the Special Marriages Act, only then the daughters will be inheriting is completely a flawed argument. Because obviously, as I understand in their story, they don't have a son. If they don't have a son, directly the daughters are getting all inheritance of the parents' rights. So this is a marriage of more than convenience than other than anything else. What are they claiming? I do not understand.
No, but they are saying, once again, I won't interrupt you after this. But both of them are students of law. One is an advocate, the other teaches law. They surely know what they're talking about, and they won't do this unless their daughters were free to get all of their inheritance. As Sheena ji just told me, their daughters, 3 daughters, can only get 2/3 of their inheritance. The other 1/3 has to be given to other male relatives.
Yes. No. If they had a son, the son gets double than the daughter. Otherwise, the other inheritance,
but even that's
members
wrong.
of the family do not count over here, Shivani. They are not
but even that's
over
wrong.
here.
The fact that the son will get double than the daughter, these are all sets of laws that I'm talking about. These are all sets of laws I'm talking about. These are, don't you think there's a problem with this?
So, why are you then not, endorsing the fact that the same male person gives to his wife also, and the daughter also gets from the husband's side?
That's not the question.
So it's a matter of equity rather than equality, Shivani. The arguments are flawed over here. Obviously,
that's because women traditionally are not holders of these inheritances. If women were holders of these inheritances, then you will get from your mother too. And people do get from their mother's share as well. But if you keep reducing women's share, generation after generation, then it basically puts women out of inheritance ownership. But let me bring in Danish Qureshi. Danish Qureshi, what this couple is saying is that, the clergy is also misinterpreting Islam. What they are setting as rules for the Muslim community is actually not what the Quran or Islam truly preaches. Quran preaches equality between male and female, but our social laws have become absolutely inequitable. Danish Qureshi.
Shivani, what is the main problem is that we have Special Marriage Act and the Hindu Marriage Act. Now, problem is that if we are talking about if he is having a fear of about the Succession Act, we have Indian Succession Act and Hindu Succession Act. What they want to clear, I didn't get what is the aim behind this marriage. As a Muslim, he has a power to give a wasiyat, or he can give a will that the distribution of my property should be held according to. Let me complete. Distribution of my property should be held according to the Indian Succession Act. That's it. Nobody can intervene in that matter because it's the private decision of its own property. Not in the ancestral property. As per in the ancestral property, they has to do as per the Islamic law. If they believe in Islamism, that's the main thing. Their father, their mother, they are being married according to Islam.
The question I'm asking you is that isn't it time that under Islamic laws, there should be a recognition that these differences should go? That's the basic fundamental question today.
Shivani, we already have 2 acts, Indian Succession Act and Hindu Succession Act. Even they are not equal. Then what we are talking about?
No, but the differences under Islamic law, especially when it comes to inheritance, don't you think that's a problem? Forget what everybody else is doing, But within the community, is there not a need to set these laws or these practices right?
I think there is no need of doing that. Each and every community having its own personal law. Even then, the ulemas of Deen Islam are enough to do if they want to reform, want to make a reform.
Okay. Amba Zaidi, please come in on this. A lot of people are saying, why did this couple even have to do this? Because they could have found other ways. But I think the couple is sending a very strong message that under Islamic laws, that protection is not there for their daughters, and they want to protect their daughters' futures.
Absolutely right, Shivani, and I wholeheartedly welcome whatever the step they have taken for the protection of their daughters' rights. Because the people, they were discussing on the panel that they have a full right to take succession or this thing under Sharia law. But I want to make one thing clear here, that there is no clarity on such succession in Muslim Personal Law Application Act 1937. That's why they must have taken the step. They have remarried under Special Marriage Act. And I think as per the constitution, everybody has equal right as per the Article 14. And I think there should not be any further debate on this, that why they have taken this step. Because Shivani, I personally get so many calls from different parts of India. And the day before yesterday, on Saturday only, I got a call from Maharashtra, and the similar case, a woman, she was 5 months pregnant when her husband died, and her in-laws, they tried to terminate the baby then, and now she has one daughter, and they've been fighting for her rights, succession rights, and they are, and her in-laws, they are not allowing her to take anything, or jewelry, any inheritance, nothing, and she's been fighting for her right. So people were saying
I
that
think the point that you're making is what I was asking earlier also. There needs to be clarity, and it seems like there is no clarity, and a lot of the interpretation is according to the clergy, and they're saying whatever they want.
Absolutely right. That's what I'm saying, that there should be clarity on that. There are so many, there are no clarity on, there are so many complexities in the law. People say it's a different thing, and as per the Islam, if we, the clergy and what is the written in, and one point I want to make clear is that Sharia is not something that is sacrosanct. It can be reformed, it can be changed as per the time and the need of people. Why can't we simply, come out and talk about reforms? If something is going wrong in our society, we should at least come out and discuss that there is a problem, and we should address such injustice towards
that's the fundamental question I want to take across to Rahul Ishwar also, the question of reform. Now, we sense that there is a resistance to reform as far as Islamic laws are concerned. Reform is par for the course for all other communities, but not so much for Muslims. Do you think that's really the problem that needs to be corrected here? And like this Muslim couple, it possibly will have to be driven from inside.
Shivani ji, as every community, even our law commission and to Pujaniya Sarsanghchalak Guruji Golwalkar rightly points out that reform should come from within. And every community over a period of time, there are differences in interpretation, there needs to be consensus, there needs to be evolution in understanding, interpretation and implementation of religious aspects. And please remember, every religion has a spiritual set of laws and a social set of laws. The spiritual thing is, beyond change, or they are eternal, God-given. At the same point of time, the social aspects are subjected to evolution. For example, a very simple question. If a Muslim father has 1 crore rupees and after his death, it has to be partitioned along with the brother. Similarly, if he has 1 crore loan, will any of the relatives be able to take up his loan? Will they be able to take up his debt? So there needs to be an understanding, and there needs to evolve. And here also, the 3 Muslim girls, he has 3 Muslim girls. I personally know Advocate Shukur Asi is from Kerala, my land. If he has a son, they will get all the property. But if he has no son, then a relative or a brother has to be given that property. Will the brother be able to take up the debt he has? I don't think any brother will do that. That's the reason why I'm a conservative Hindu. I'm a believer. I support all the believing Muslims. At the same point of time, when there are questions of such things, we need to consult and bring about a consensus and not be anti any kind of these kind of meetings. So we need to be open-minded, we need to be positive, and we need to be forward-looking.
All right, I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Possibly time that at least when it comes to simple matters of social life, there needs to be parity between genders and there needs to be equality and there needs to be uniformity. But I don't mean between religions, but within a religion, we should know very clearly where one stands so that these issues don't crop up. I thank our guests for joining us. I have to slip into a very short break. On the other side, I'll get you more of what I was doing in Ahmedabad earlier today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart were here at the Narendra Modi Stadium watching the first day of the fourth and final test match between India and Australia. We'll get you some highlights of what the two premiers got on to and some what people told me here in Ahmedabad. Stay tuned for that on the other side.
Parents. So this is something which they feel is discriminatory and should be, there should be some change in that, and that is why they have decided this. Now there has been a statement that has come in from the Darul Huda Muslim University. This is based in Malappuram, and according to their center, according to the statement of their Fatwa and Research Center, it says that this is hypocritical, it's paradoxical. The believers will not fall into all this, or there would be some the believers will understand that this is just hypocritical, and the Sharia law is there because you believe in the God Almighty and you think, and it is His wish. So that is how they have said this, and when we inquired with them, they said that it is not a fatwa or something, but they have issued this statement because there has been a lot of confusion among the people after this has become the news. So they want to clarify this and saying that this entire thing is paradoxical and it is not something that needs to be done. The law is there in place, the Sharia law is there. If you believe in God Almighty, those people who believe that and who follow the Islamic rules will not have any problem with this. So this is the explanation that has been given.
Neetu, I just want to ask you for clarification. I know the Darul Huda Islamic University responded to this development. They said, and I'm going to quote here, they said there's no law against handing over all your wealth to a child while you are still alive. Why then is this couple deciding to get married under the Special Marriages Act? Is this correct? Can you bring us more context?
No, what they meant is that when you are alive, whatever you want to do, you can do for your children.
Right.
So that is what they meant. It's only about the inheritance or the properties that you're leaving behind or the assets that you're leaving behind. So as long as you're alive, you can give whatever you want. But the property that is left behind or the assets that is left behind once you're dead, it becomes an inheritance. And when that happens, so essentially what they mean is that now if you have some if you have cash or property, you can give it in their names. But what these guys said, the advocate Shukur has said, is that in Sharia law, you can't even leave a will behind where he wants to, where he actually wants to say that, okay, this part of my property has to go to so and so. He says that Sharia law doesn't even allow leaving a will behind.
Okay, Neetu, I just want to understand from you, multiple reports are also saying that certain outfits are criticizing the couple of being anti-Muslim in making this decision and for working on the behest of groups that want to spread the need for UCC. What does any of this mean? Can you bring our audience's context?
See, what we have seen is that in Kerala, at least, we are not seeing that, as I said, any kind of large-scale protests that are happening in social media. There have been comments that has been made, and it's actually only this organization which has come out with a statement and saying this at the moment.
In Kerala, where a Muslim couple's decision to remarry, this is in Kerala's Kasargod under the Special Marriages Act, has sparked waves. C. Shukur and Sheena decided to remarry after 29 years. Now, their first marriage was a nikah under Sharia, the Islamic legal system. The second was a registered marriage under the Special Marriages Act passed by Parliament in 1954. Now, the couple decided to remarry, they say, to overcome the legal hurdle of inheritance because they have 3 daughters and they have no male progeny. The couple's decision to remarry has sent shockwaves, though. You've had a number of very senior Muslim leaders issue statements and term the whole remarriage decision drama. For example, you've had the Darul Huda Islamic University's council. They've issued a statement where they've called the marriage a paradox, considering that this couple was practicing Islam. I'm going to walk you through each of these reactions, then we'll connect with the reporter for more details.
കല്യാണം നേരത്തെ കഴിഞ്ഞ കല്യാണം വീണ്ടും രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്തതാണ് സ്പെഷ്യൽ മാരേജ് ആക്ട് പ്രകാരം. അത് ഒരു സന്ദേശം സമൂഹത്തിന് കൊടുക്കാനുള്ള ഉദ്ദേശമാണ്. നമ്മുടെ മുസ്ലിം കുടുംബത്തിൽ പറക്കുന്ന പെൺകുട്ടികൾ മാത്രമുള്ളവർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ഒരു വിവേചനമുണ്ട്. ആ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് സമൂഹത്തിലെ മറ്റ് സമുദായത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞ കുട്ടികൾക്കുള്ള സോഷ്യൽ സ്റ്റാറ്റസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്വത്തവകാശത്തിലെ തുല്യത നൽകണം എന്നുള്ളൊരു സന്ദേശം നൽകുക മാത്രമാണ് ഇതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്.
തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഇതൊരു മെസ്സേജാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾ ഓൾറെഡി ഒരു കസ്റ്റമറി മാരേജ് കഴിഞ്ഞതാണ്. നമ്മൾ ആ ജീവിതമായിട്ട് മുന്നോട്ട് പോവുകയാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഇങ്ങനൊരു ആവശ്യം വരുന്നത് ഈ കുട്ടികളുടെ ഒരു കോൺഫിഡൻസ്.
After questioning Manish Sisodia for the second time, the first round of questioning which happened on March 7th for around 5 hours, the second round of questioning happened today. The Enforcement Directorate has arrested Delhi's former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. Let me go straight to Arunima. Arunima, the CBI said that they do not need to question him further. It is a multi-agency probe and now he will be in the custody of the Enforcement Directorate.
I would say this is on lines. The reason I say that is because in past also CBI Enforcement Directorate have worked jointly in most of the cases. Once CBI finishes its probe, the Enforcement Directorate, which is looking at the money laundering aspect of this entire excise policy case, was expected to want Mr. Sisodia's custody. Now, why does it want Mr. Sisodia's custody? Essentially because Enforcement Directorate in its initial charge sheet has alleged that Vijay Nair was working at the behest of Mr. Sisodia, that he was lobbying with the South Group to get the profit margin changed from 5% to 12% at the behest of the Deputy Chief Minister, at the behest of the Aam Aadmi Party. That is the allegation that ED has made. When it questioned Manish Sisodia in Tihar jail, CBI has said this, that Mr. Sisodia during custody has repeatedly not cooperated, quote unquote. The same stances of the Enforcement Directorate as well, that even when they were trying to ask him about his association with Vijay Nair and Dinesh Arora while he was in Tihar jail, he was evasive. That's the reason they have decided to move in for custody so that they can question him in their custody. And the Enforcement Directorate has leeway under the PMLA. Whatever an accused says to an investigating officer of Enforcement Directorate is admissible evidence in court. And that is why it is even that much more difficult for a suspect under ED's custody to try and evade like it can under Prevention of Corruption Act with CBI. So things are looking even more challenging for Manish Sisodia and for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Yes, and the ED charge sheet, Arunima, clearly talks about his role. In the CBI charge sheet, he is accused number 1. And the ED, in fact, obtained a local court's permission to question him. He was questioned for the first time on 7th. Today was the second round of questioning. You are saying that this was almost like a natural course or the law taking its course. But the larger question is, what next for Manish Sisodia? If the ED goes ahead and arrests him, which has happened right now, will his questioning continue in Tihar jail or will he be questioned now at the ED headquarters?
So if the Enforcement Directorate is seeking his custody, that's the reason they have arrested him. Otherwise, like they have done in the past 2 days, they could have questioned him in judicial custody as well. But they are seeking his custody, custodial interrogation. So if the court grants that custodial interrogation, Sisodia will have to be moved out of Tihar jail and moved into the custody of Enforcement Directorate, where his questioning will go on. That's the procedure. But of course, Sisodia's team is going to challenge it. They have already, when he was in CBI custody, said that this is just a pressure tactics to force him to quote unquote confess. And because he's not confessing to what the IO wants, he's being mentally harassed. That's a charge that his defense team made against CBI. They are bound to make these charges against ED as well. But like I told you, PMLA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the act is designed in a way, and it has now got the nod of the Supreme Court, that it is loaded heavily in favor of the investigating officer and heavily against the accused. So this arrest by ED queers the pitch that much more for Manish Sisodia and for Aam Aadmi Party. You saw Satyendra Jain been in jail for almost a year now, not getting bail because of the way PMLA is designed. So it's a law looks like for us now.
So it's going to be a long road now, perhaps, for Manish Sisodia. It's only getting tough for him. He has already resigned and 2 new ministers have been sworn in. We have Amit Malviya of the BJP now joining us on the phone line. Mr. Malviya, the first reaction from the BJP on this arrest by the Enforcement Directorate of the former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi.
This is law taking its course, and it is not unusual for the ED to seek arrest in such matters where money trail is involved. And it was only natural that the ED would have got into this entire scam that has happened in Delhi. The PMLA, which has been upheld by the Supreme Court, does provide for these kind of investigators and arrests, and it's in natural course that Manish Sisodia has been arrested.
So you're saying that it's a natural course, but of course, as the Aam Aadmi Party alleges that if anything, Manish Sisodia is not responding to the answers that the investigating officers expect him to reply to, there is a reason why after one agency, it is the other agency which has arrested him.
Maria, let's look at it this way. Satyendra Jain has been in jail for the last 9 months. If clearly Satyendra Jain had answers to the questions that were posed to him and he had evidences in his favor, the court would have looked at them and the court would have ensured that he was provided relief. That hasn't happened. Similarly, if Manish Sisodia has arguments and evidence and facts to his side, he will be able to get relief from the courts. So to imagine that an ED arrest means end of the road and it is because the agencies or the officers are being vindictive, it's not the case. No agency and no officer can get away with brazenness, because at the end of it, they have to prove the matter in the court and they have to provide evidence. Therefore, for the Aam Aadmi Party to make these allegations is part of political rhetoric that Aam Aadmi Party has been routinely indulging in, whether it is Satyendra Jain or Manish Sisodia. But when the rubber hits the road and the matter is in court, they have failed to prove their innocence. Satyendra Jain is a classic example. And if the Aam Aadmi Party has anything in defense of Manish Sisodia, they must bring it to the court's notice. And I'm sure we have a functioning judiciary at multiple levels, and they have recourse at all levels of judiciary, right up to the Supreme Court. So the Aam Aadmi Party should not be worried at all.
But Mr. Malviya, Aam Aadmi Party is not the only political party in opposition which is questioning the role of the central government in what they say is misuse of agencies, which is being used against the political opponents of the BJP. Today we saw Kavitha, KCR's daughter, hold a press conference and level similar charges.
Because being in opposition does not mean you have immunity from corruption. Let's accept that this liquor gate extends all the way down to Telangana and several businessmen there. Kavitha, the daughter of Telangana Chief Minister, has been questioned before by the agencies. She is perhaps in the entire loop and she's being investigated again. So if you are indulging in corruption, naturally the agencies will get to you, and just because you happen to be in opposition, you cannot claim innocence. Let's not forget that even Lalu Prasad had to go to jail after 20 years in the Chara Ghotala.
All right,
they can now claim innocence, but the truth is that they are guilty of corruption and eventually will have to face law.
All right, Mr. Malviya, thank you so much. Let me go to Ananya, who's joining us on the phone line as well. Ananya, officials in the ED telling CNN News18 for the first time, that is on 7th, Manish Sisodia was specifically asked about his association with Vijay Nair and Dinesh Arora. He's the accused in this case, and the decision to change profit margin from 5% to 12% for wholesalers and the kickbacks that were allegedly paid in advance by the South Group, comprising of politicians and businessmen from Telangana and Andhra. Now the question is that it was the Aam Aadmi Party which in its cabinet note accepted that there has been cartelization and that is the reason why the flawed liquor policy was withdrawn. Now with ED questioning and now this arrest, does it look like a long road for Manish Sisodia? It's only getting more difficult for him?
Well, definitely, Maria. An arrest under the PMLA is something that is very, very on a higher threshold. Remember that since PMLA is a special statute, the The ground for arrest in and under the sections of PMLA, that is section 19 of the PMLA, which gives the power of arrest to the Enforcement Directorate, is somewhere higher than the regular CRPC, and that's the reason why, in fact, there would have been something that would be beyond reasonable doubt, and some material evidence would have been there, for which the Enforcement Directorate would have arrested Manish Sisodia into this particular case. What's been told by our sources is that he was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate after following that particular procedure where the superintendent was informed and an arrest